Always lock your door. Chapter 2. 13 years. 13 years to the day, and I relived a nightmare that I'd suppressed since that night. Why did I speak about it? It's as if it knew. It's been a long time since my uni days. I'm in my 30s now, have moved to a new location and established a career for myself. Life might still have its ups and downs, but as far as things go, I'm content. Even though I live in my own small second-floor flat in a secure cul-de-sac, one thing that hasn't changed is my diligence to locking the door at night. Now, my flat is only small, consisting of a short hallway with rooms peeling off of it, and directly opposite the bedroom lies the front door. But my brain doesn't really think about it much though. Just instinctively, every night before I go to bed, I double-check the door is firmly closed, leave my keys in the lock, and slide on the safety chain. Though, ever since I found the courage to tell my story, I've had a feeling. It's as if every time I go to bed, something is there, lurking just outside of my vision. I look, and there's nothing. Busy days of work, the morning commute, and the general stress of being an adult wear you out, and the exhaustion I feel is nothing new. But there's been this strange familiarity to the feeling that has loomed over me, and until recently, I couldn't quite put my finger on it. It had been a particularly long week, and I was yearning for an early night's sleep. So, as normal, I finished up my evening routines and started getting ready for bed, finally double-checking the front door before I got settled. I couldn't tell you when I fell asleep, but I remember waking up. The dread that fell over me was instantaneous as I peered forward. The door of my room and my flat were both wide open, the darkness of the world beyond the threshold swallowing all but the faintest of light. Before I even gave myself time to think, I started to try and force myself out of bed, to raise my limbs from beneath the covers, but I was stuck, pinned down like I had iron nails hammered through my hands and feet. Then I froze. I could hear the creaking of the wooden steps outside the flat. Something was coming up the stairs. Not again, I thought. I struggled with every ounce of strength I could muster to try and free myself from the paralyzing grasp. Then, an arm came free. Then my legs. I'd done it. Before I knew it, I'd managed to spring myself from my bed and lunge towards the front door to slam it shut. But it wouldn't close, stuck an inch or so from sealing off whatever loomed outside. I leant on the door, pressing my entire weight against it, and with just enough time I managed at the very least to slide the safety chain back on before I felt myself wrenched through the air by some invisible force, hurtling me back to the bed, crushing me down into the mattress. All I could do was lay there and watch on in terror as once more the all too familiar claws slowly began to wrap their fingers round the door. Every second I gazed onward felt like an age as I watched them trail their way up towards the chain. It was almost painful to see how easily it sliced through them. As the door creaked open, a lifetime of fear washed over me like a tidal wave, and I knew this brought the creature joy, because from within the darkness I could see the shimmer of light reflecting from the beast's jagged teeth as it grinned at me. Though, unlike before, once the creature had crossed the gap between itself and me, it didn't clamber on top of me. No, this time it just lowered itself down and perched itself on the edge of the bed. I wanted to lash out. I wanted to move, to fight, but I had nothing left. It was as if my body had accepted its fate. I felt the trickle of a tear run down my cheek. That's when it began to laugh. Oh God, did it laugh. My heart began to pound through my chest as I glimpsed at the creature's face. Even without feature, I could see the pure display of pleasure the creature felt at my futility as it began to move its face towards mine. The last thing I remember was the gaping mouth pressed against me, its visceral laughter splitting my ears as I felt the warmth of its breath on my face. The ringing in my ears took a while to stop. The creature had vanished. I could feel warmth slowly starting to flood back into me as my limbs became free of their bindings. Huddling up into the corner of my bed, I just sat there, staring at the open bedroom door. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to go check. I was startled awake by a knock at the door and then the sound of the letterbox opening. I'm not quite sure when I'd fallen asleep, but at some point I'd drifted off. I was half slouched in the corner. My neck ached from the angle I'd crumpled into. I sat there for a bit, my brain taking its time to wake up. It was morning. I could see the light flickering through the gaps in the curtains. To think how reliving a story recreated a dream so real, so vivid, that it was like I was back in that very instant 13 years ago to the day. As I made my way from the bed, I glanced down and saw the post on the floor. I stopped to pick it up. Bills, adverts, coupons. It was laughable how mundane these things seemed after last night, and I would have laughed myself if I hadn't noticed the broken remains of my safety chain lying on the floor.